Hey folks, I just got through checking out this video, and this YouTuber does the best job that I've seen of giving everybody the idea or the full panacea or big picture of what XRP, Ripple, RLUSD, and all its ecosystem, how they work together, how they move together to help move value around the world for the future financial system. I don't think I've seen anybody do such a good job of kind of putting that together the way he did. I know I talk about every now and then reminding people about how it's got legal regulatory clarity, the speed and security with which it moves value, the fact that it's decentralized, all its partnerships. I talk about all of those things. I don't think I've ever tied it together quite the way this young man just did here. So I'm very interested in sharing this with you. It is about a 5-minute video. And if you're in here to learn and to try to understand, why should I put my money into crypto or Ripple for that matter, specifically XRP, the digital asset XRP. Don't just do it because you're hearing people like me say it or you're seeing it on social media. Do it because you've looked at those things on social media. Maybe you went to the website. Maybe you went to LinkedIn to check out what the team or the marketing arm of Ripple is doing. Who are the board of directors, blah, blah, who are the partnerships. If you did your research and you've gotten some of this understanding, sometimes a video like this helps you piece it together and say, okay, I see it, because if you're anything like me, I have to literally see it in my mind to understand, this really could work. It makes sense. And then maybe you decide to invest, maybe you don't. I mean, that's a personal choice on your part, but it's always good to catch a little more information. 5 simple minutes for a video like this is well worth it. Let me know what you think in the comments, and we'll see you on the next one. Check out the video. It's a really good one. Till next time, adios amigos.
Ripple's integration isn't necessarily a replacement for SWIFT, but it's a step toward modernizing that system. And Ripple's on-demand liquidity, ODL, uses XRP as a bridge currency to make country-to-country payments faster and cheaper. And this is where things get really interesting. If XRP becomes a key player in the global payments market, its utility and demand could skyrocket because more banks and countries would want it. But it's also still very speculative, and we still need to see how it plays out. But we're going to see what happens as early as March 10th this year. This is a huge deal for XRP. Why? Because XRP is ISO 20022 compliant. Now, ISO 20022 is a global messaging standard for financial institutions. It's the language of the banks, and it's the backbone of the new financial system. In fact, it is mandated that all banks speak this language by March 10th this year. And XRP is one of a handful of cryptos that does. If XRP becomes integrated into this system, it could see massive adoption by banks and financial institutions. So even capturing a small fraction of a $150 trillion market could be huge. Now, this is still early days and adoption takes time. There's a lot of moving parts, but the potential is there, and it's one of the biggest reasons why XRP has so many believers. Now let's talk about the XRP Ledger and RLUSD, or RealUSD, Ripple's stablecoin. The XRPL is Ripple's blockchain that can handle over 1,500 transactions per second with fees as low as $0.0002 per transaction. Compare that to Ethereum, which can handle about 30 transactions a second, or Bitcoin, which handles about 7. XRPL also has a built-in decentralized exchange, which allows users to trade assets directly on the ledger. Now, some people speculate that this could tie in to Larry Fink's vision of the investment world of the future.
I want the SEC to rapidly approve the tokenization of bonds and stocks. That will simplify things, make things easier, and it would save more money for more people. It would bring down the cost of ownership of stock and bonds. Those are the type of financial reforms we need.
Believe it or not, Ripple actually tokenized the first money market fund on the XRPL. And this is a huge deal because it shows a proof of concept that it's possible to put assets that are worth trillions of dollars on the blockchain effectively. Now, this is a can of worms that could be its own separate video, but long story short, Imagine some of your favorite stocks trading on the blockchain 24/7 all the time without market closes. That is all transparent, instant. That has a huge total addressable market, what's called TAM. It's worth hundreds of trillions of dollars. That's where BlackRock sees the future of finance going, and that's what Ripple is trying to be a part of. But another huge potential is SAB 121 and Real USD, which is Ripple's stablecoin. Stablecoins like Real USD are meant to stabilize value, and they're usually tied to the US dollar, and that makes them perfect for everyday transactions. That also makes them good for remittances and, of course, DeFi or CeFi applications. Now, by introducing Real USD, Ripple is adding an asset to the XRPL, which could attract more users, more developers, and more institutions. But why this really matters is, number one, because Real USD could work hand in hand with XRP in Ripple's on-demand liquidity product. Now, I know it's really complicated what I'm saying, but here's an example. Imagine there's a payment. It could start in Real USD for stability and then settle in XRP for speed and cost efficiency. And this dual currency approach could make Ripple's payment solution even more appealing over SWIFT. Remember that $150 trillion market. Now, I know it's still a little complicated, so here's a really simple analogy. Imagine a train running on a set of tracks. Now, the tracks themselves is the XRP ledger, and what's being transported, these little train cars, are Real USD. That's the stablecoin. But in order for the cars to use the tracks, it has to burn XRP as a form of payment. But it's not just payments. Reason number two is because it goes hand in hand with the repeal of something called SAB 121, which is an accounting standard that has now changed starting this year. That means banks can now custody or hold your crypto and lend against it. And if Real USD plays a part of that, it could also boost the ecosystem by providing the money or liquidity and stability needed for the banks to allow borrowing, lending, and trading. The more activity on XRPL means more demand for XRP to pay transactions.